All right, let's get this started, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining in on another long coffee break. My name is Gene. I'm a sales engineer for hydronics, plumbing, and steam at Long. With me today is Mark Duggan from Raypak. Mark will be giving a short presentation on the latest offerings from Raypak, particularly condensing hydronic boilers. Mark, thank you for joining.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. Like Gene said, my name is Mark Duggan, and I am the Regional Sales Manager for Raypak here in the Mountain Region. Today, we're going to be discussing the Xvers with KOR, which is our latest condensing fire tube heat exchanger boiler, and we're going to discuss the construction of that heat exchanger. We're going to discuss dynamic protection and that boiler's compact size, specifically the 4 million BTU boiler's compact size. And if we have time, I'm going to kind of dive into a few of the other product offerings that Raypak has. So really quickly here, I just want to first talk about what a fire tube heat exchanger is. So you can see on the left, we've got a little cutaway of that heat exchanger, and you can see there are stainless steel tubes running up and down that whole heat exchanger, kind of filling that tank with tubes. And there is a burner that sits on top here. And that burner has a fan, and what that does is it sends heat through those tubes down to the bottom, and the water is circulating in that tank around those tubes. So the water comes in from the bottom, and by the time it makes it out at the top, it is heated. So the nice thing about that fire tube heat exchanger is there isn't a whole lot of pressure drop through it, so it allows for a little bit more versatility in your pumping and piping options. The other nice thing is, since there is a low pressure drop, you're really getting most of that heat from that heat exchanger into the water, which is how you're able to achieve such high efficiencies. So with that, we will talk about the construction of the stainless steel on this heat exchanger. So most manufacturers use either a 316L stainless steel or a 439 stainless steel. Raypak uses a 316L stainless steel. And the reason for that being is it's got a little bit higher pitting resistance equivalent number. And what that is a predictive measurement of stainless steel's resistance to pitting corrosion. So you can see here on the right, the 316L has a PREN of 26, whereas that 439 stainless steel only has a PREN of 18. So the higher that number, the more corrosion resistant it is, basically. And the reason for that being is the 316L has about 12% nickel, which provides resistance against thermal fatigue and corrosion. And the 316L also has 2.5% molybdenum, which provides resistance against localized pitting corrosion. As you can see below there, the 439 only has about 0.5% nickel and 0% molybdenum. So a lot more susceptible to failure, fatigue, wear, pitting, corrosion, all that stuff. So that's why we decided to go with that 316L stainless steel. Next, I want to talk about our compact size of this boiler. So the 1 million to 4 million BTU Xvers KOR all can fit through a standard doorway. You can see here on the bottom right corner is our dimensions. So this is our 4 million BTU, which is our biggest size of that Xvers KOR. We have 34 inches wide, 74.6 inches tall, and 70.4 inch depth. So we have no problem fitting through a standard 36 by 80 doorway with zero disassembly required. So you can fit a pallet jack right under there and move it into the boiler room, which is really nice to think about for boiler replacement jobs. But if you think of it from a new construction standpoint, you can see kind of here on the right, that chart, how we stack up against our competitors. And, if for new construction, you see how much, we're taking up about half the space that we would be if we were going with one of our competitors. So, as you guys know, space in that mechanical room is pretty sacred. So if we can take up less of it and still put out the same amount of heat, that's what we would want to do. The other nice thing about the Xvers KOR and all of Raypak's boilers is they come standard with an outdoor rated jacket. Obviously we're not putting boilers outside in Colorado, but that little heavier duty jacket is really nice to have. A lot of our competitors, they have an indoor rated jacket and an outdoor rated jacket. That indoor rated jacket is usually what comes standard, and it's quite a bit flimsier That metal bends pretty easily. It's very flimsy. So to be able to offer that outdoor rated jacket, even on an indoor installation, is certainly nice and kind of helps that boiler maintain its look nice and just maintain its construction a little bit better. Next thing I want to talk about is our dynamic protection. Earlier, I discussed that our 316L stainless steel is stronger than the 439 stainless steel. However, when it comes to heat transfer and just strength, stainless steel is quite a bit weaker than copper. We prefer to use copper on our heat exchangers, but the only downside to that is copper cannot handle condensing units. So that's why we have to use that stainless steel. And while that stainless steel is a weaker metal, so it's much more susceptible to fatigue, thermal shock, all of that stuff. So what Raypak came up with is dynamic protection, which basically you see this little blue box here that goes on the inlet side of the boiler, and that is constantly monitoring flow to that boiler. So and sending that back to the control, and it's adjusting its firing rate accordingly. And what that does is basically protects that heat exchanger from either overheating or underheating, since that stainless steel is still, a fairly susceptible metal to fatigue and that type of thing. So, what that dynamic protection does is really it protects that heat exchanger from any type of thermal fatigue. And to this day, Raypak has not had a failure on a heat exchanger with dynamic protection. So I want to kind of show you guys a few other offerings from Raypak. Just right here on the right, you'll see we have a H, WH, and P. Those just indicate what the boiler can be used for. Some can only be used for hydronic, some can be used for hydronic and water heating, and some can be used for all three. So those little markings will be next to each piece of equipment you'll see. So just want to discuss that first. And then down below here, you'll see Raymote equipped. And so just keep that in mind because we'll talk a little bit more about Raymote later. So here are high efficiency condensing hydronic boilers. We have the Xvers with KOR, which I've kind of already discussed. That's our 1 million to 4 million BTUs and all the sizes in between, fire tube. And then for your lighter commercial jobs, we have the Xvers L, which is also stainless steel fire tube, still high efficiency, same control that the Xvers KOR has. You can cascade up to 8 units. It's just a little bit smaller for your lighter commercial jobs, 400,000 to 850,000 BTUs. Next is our high efficiency condensing water heating and hydronic. So this Xtherm, this first one here, this can be used for all three. Obviously the model number is going to be a little bit different, but this is our original condensing piece of equipment. And this has a primary copper fin heat exchanger in the front, and then a secondary stainless steel heat exchanger in the back. And like I said, that can be used for hydronic, water heating, and pool heating. Next, we have our Triton, which is our water tube heat exchanger on top of a tank. Obviously, that's only going to be used for water heating. And then we have our Xfire, which is our, it's our high efficiency condensing water tube boiler. So this can be used for hydronic and water heating. However, it's got that Sermeta water tube heat exchanger. So it does require a little bit more specific piping and pumping, but we have that option, 300,000 BTUs to 1 million. And for your very light commercial applications or residential applications, we have our XPAC FT, which is our smaller wall hung fire tube unit, 85,000 BTUs to 400,000 BTUs. Mid efficiency, we don't really dive into this too much on the new construction, but there's still quite a big market out there for mid efficiency replacement boilers. And we've got a boiler to match anything. So that's really what I wanted to emphasize is we have products to match any application that you come up against. We also offer storage tanks from 26 gallons all the way to 2,600 gallons. So earlier I talked a little bit about Raymote, and what this is it's you can download the app on your phone or you can use it on a browser. But this allows access to that boiler and kind of allows us to see what's going on with that boiler. Specifically, if you have a building super or building owner, a maintenance guy or school district that wants a little bit more visibility, can't be in that boiler room every day to see what's going on, but would like to know, check in the morning what's going on with the boiler or the afternoon. This is the way to do it. And the other nice thing about Raymote is it will send you a notification if the boiler is locking out. You know, you can set it up to send you an email or a text, or it'll just pop up as a notification on your iPhone. And what this does, it allows us to kind of get a little bit more visibility, and you guys. And the nice thing is, if you have a unit that is having some issues, if it's connected to Raymote, our tech support guys back in Oxnard are able to log into Raymote and find that boiler and see what's going on. And we're able to pull trends from the lockouts, data logging, all that stuff to kind of maybe help dial in what's causing that problem. So obviously virtual trainings are the easiest way to go. But if you're ever interested in in-person trainings, we have innovation learning centers all over the country. Specifically, the one we use the most is our Raypak headquarters in Oxnard, California. We have a massive classroom there, and we also have a hot room, which you can kind of see a little picture of here on the right. That hot room allows us to hook up, I believe, 8 to 10 units and fire those. So we'll bring contractors, engineers, service guys, anybody who wants to be more comfortable installing our equipment, speccing our equipment, working on our equipment. We want to bring people in so they're comfortable. I mean, that's the main goal, is to get everyone comfortable with our equipment at the end of the day. If you can't make it in person, we offer live webinars pretty frequently. Those can be found on our website at raypak.com. Also at raypak.com under the training tab, you have access to anytime learning. So those webinars we save and we put them on there, and we do quite a few videos of trainings as well. So if you ever have a free moment, feel free to go to raypak.com, click on the training tab, and you can watch whatever video you want. I'm sure we've got videos on every single product we offer. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Gene. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.